The Betrayal and Silent Resistance. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Concordat glittered with crystalline structures and alien architecture that defied human understanding. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before the Council of Seven, the ruling body that governed the affairs of over 300 sentient species spread across the Milky Way. For 20 years, humanity had been the youngest member of this ancient alliance, learning, growing, and contributing their unique perspectives to galactic civilization. The Council has reached an unanimous decision, announced High Counselor Exir Thal, the ancient Valorian whose silver skin reflected the ambient light of the chamber. Earth and all human colonies are hereby expelled from the Galactic Concordat, effective immediately. All trade agreements are revoked. All technology-sharing initiatives are terminated. All human representatives must vacate Concordat space within 3 standard cycles. Ambassador Chen's composure didn't falter, though her heart hammered in her chest. On what grounds does the Council make this decision? The United Earth Coalition has upheld every article of the Concordat Charter. That is precisely the issue, Ambassador, said Councillor Miravex, her insectoid mandibles clicking with barely contained disdain. Your species upholds our laws while advancing too rapidly. In the mere 2 decades since first contact, humans have replicated technologies that took other species centuries to develop. Your adaptive capacity presents an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. In that moment, Chen understood the truth. The Concordat had never welcomed humanity as equals. They had extended their hand in false friendship, studying humans while containing their potential. The admission to the Concordat had been a gilded cage, nothing more. We will comply with the Council's directive, Chen said, her voice steady. But know this, you have not eliminated a threat today. You have created one. As she turned and walked from the chamber, flanked by her staff, Chen activated the quantum entanglement communicator hidden in her ceremonial brooch. A single word was transmitted instantaneously to Earth, bypassing all Concordat monitoring systems. Prometheus. Commander Ilara Voss stood in the underground command center beneath the Olympus Mons research facility on Mars, her steady gaze fixed on the holographic display before her. The message from Ambassador Chen had arrived 6 hours ago, triggering a protocol that had been in place for 15 years, ever since the United Earth Coalition's intelligence division had first suspected the Concordat's true intentions. Operation Prometheus is now active, Voss announced to the gathered military and scientific leaders. All stealth protocols are in effect. As of this moment, the Concordat believes they have neutered humanity's advancement. We will let them continue to believe that. Dr. Isamu Nakamura, Earth's foremost physicist and the architect of humanity's secret technological renaissance, adjusted his glasses. The quantum resonance drive is ready for full implementation, Commander. We've successfully miniaturized the technology to be installed in vessels as small as Corvette class. The Concordat has nothing that can match it. And weapon systems? Voss asked, turning to General Helena Rodriguez. Our phase-shift torpedoes can bypass any shielding technology the Concordat currently employs, Rodriguez replied. And our adaptive armor can absorb and redirect energy weapons with minimal degradation. We've been testing everything in the Kuiper Belt facilities, far from prying eyes. Voss nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. For 15 years, we've prepared for this possibility. We've compartmentalized our research, hidden our breakthroughs, and presented a facade of compliance to the Concordat. Now we accelerate our plans. The display shifted to show the hidden shipyards of Neptune's moons and the asteroid belt. Construction of Earth's secret fleet had begun years ago. Vessels unlike any the galaxy had seen. Sleek, dark ships designed for stealth and overwhelming firepower, combining the best of human ingenuity with reverse-engineered Concordat technology. The Ghost Fleet will be operational within 6 months, Admiral Wei announced. 93 ships, from stealth corvettes to the dreadnought Humanity's Resolve, all equipped with quantum resonance drives, phase-shift weaponry, and adaptive defense systems. And the Concordat will never see us coming, Voss said. Our quantum resonance technology allows us to travel without leaving the traditional subspace signatures their sensors are calibrated to detect. We can strike anywhere, anytime, and they'll never know how. Humanity had been betrayed, but they had not been caught unprepared. For years, they had shown the Concordat only what they wanted them to see, a rapidly advancing but still relatively primitive species eager to learn, all while Earth's greatest minds worked in secret, developing technologies that would not only match the Concordats but surpass them. "What about our people still in Concordat space?" asked Minister Okafor of the Colonial Administration. "Extraction operations are already underway," Voss replied. "Ghost teams with stealth shuttles are retrieving our citizens from Concordat worlds and stations. For those too deeply embedded to extract, we've activated sleeper protocols. They'll maintain their cover, gathering intelligence and awaiting activation." The plan had always been meticulous, a contingency born from humanity's inherent distrust of an alliance that seemed too good to be true. That distrust had proven justified. "We have one advantage the Concordat doesn't anticipate," Dr. Nakamura added. "They believe they understand the limits of human potential because they've been studying us. What they fail to realize is that we've been studying them as well, and we understand how their technologies work better than they do themselves." This was humanity's greatest strength, not just the ability to adapt and reverse engineer, but to improve, to see possibilities where other species saw only established principles. The quantum resonance drive was proof of this. Where Concordat species used traditional hyperspace technology, humanity had discovered that reality itself resonated at quantum frequencies that could be harmonized with, allowing travel that was not just faster but operated on completely different principles. "We begin with strategic strikes," Voss said, outlining the first phase of humanity's response. "Not against civilian targets, we're not monsters, but against military installations and resource operations. We'll cripple their ability to project power while revealing as little about our capabilities as possible." 6 months later, the Concordat outpost in the Proxima Centauri system detected no warning before 3 Ghost Fleet corvettes materialized within its defensive perimeter. The outpost's commander barely had time to realize they were under attack before precision strikes disabled their communications and weapons systems. Commander Voss, leading the operation from the bridge of the corvette Silent Justice, opened a channel to the defenseless outpost. "This is Commander Ilara Voss of the United Earth Coalition. Your outpost is now under our control. Your personnel will not be harmed if you cooperate. This is not an act of war. It is reclamation of what was unjustly taken from us." The Proxima Centauri outpost had been established on what was once a prospective human colony world, before the Concordat had revoked Earth's expansion rights. Now it would serve as the first forward base for Ghost Fleet operations. As the outpost's personnel were detained and secured, Voss received the reports from similar operations conducted simultaneously across 6 systems. Each one had succeeded with minimal resistance and 0 casualties. The Concordat would soon realize they were under attack, but they would have no idea how humanity had bypassed their defenses or where the next strike would come from. "Transmit the message to Earth," Voss ordered her communications officer. "Operation Prometheus Phase 1 complete. All objectives secured. Minimal resistance encountered." The quantum resonance communicator sent the message instantaneously across the light years, bypassing all conventional detection methods. On Earth, the United Coalition government would now implement Phase 2, consolidation and expansion of their regained territory, while continuing the development of their technological advantage. "The Concordat believes they've contained us," Voss said, looking out at the stars visible from the bridge viewport. "They're about to learn that humanity cannot be contained. We will take back what's ours, and then we'll build something greater than the Concordat ever imagined possible." As the Ghost Fleet secured their position around the captured outpost, Voss knew this was only the beginning. The Concordat had centuries of dominance behind them, thousands of worlds and countless resources, but they had never faced an adversary like humanity. A species forged in adversity, driven by an unquenchable spirit of exploration and advancement, and now united by a singular purpose: to ensure that never again would humanity's destiny be decided by anyone but themselves. The betrayal of the Galactic Concordat had been meant to contain humanity. Instead, it had unleashed them. The rise of the Terran Dominion. High Counselor Exirithal stood before the emergency session of the Galactic Concordat Council, his usually impassive silver face now creased with concern. For the past year, Concordat outposts and military installations had been falling to an unknown enemy. Ships disappeared without distress calls. Entire defense fleets vanished without explanation. Supply routes were disrupted with surgical precision. "We face an unprecedented crisis," Exirithal announced to the gathered representatives. 27 outposts and military installations have been captured or destroyed. 14 supply convoys have vanished. 3 mining colonies have ceased all communications, and we still have not identified the aggressor. Counselor Miravex's compound eyes reflected the holographic display showing the pattern of attacks. The attacks began precisely 6 standard cycles after Earth's expulsion from the Concordat. "The correlation is obvious." "Impossible," declared Counselor Dravkor, his massive reptilian form shifting restlessly. Human technology was primitive. Their most advanced vessels could barely achieve short-range hyperspace jumps. They had no cloaking capabilities, no weapons that could penetrate our defensive shields. We monitored their development carefully. "Perhaps too carefully," said Exirithal, "and not carefully enough at the same time." A communication alert interrupted the council. The massive view screen at the front of the chamber activated, displaying an image that sent shockwaves through the assembly. A human female in a military uniform, unlike any they had seen before, standing on what was unmistakably the bridge of an advanced warship. "Greetings, Galactic Concordat Council. I am Admiral Ilara Voss of the United Earth Coalition Ghost Fleet. For the past year, we have reclaimed what you took from us, our rightful place among the stars. You believed you understood humanity's capabilities. You believed you could contain us. You were wrong." The council chamber erupted in chaos. Security protocols initiated automatically, attempting to trace the transmission, but their most advanced systems could detect no point of origin. "Do not waste your resources attempting to locate this transmission," Voss continued, a hint of amusement in her voice. "Our quantum resonance technology operates on principles your scientists haven't even begun to theorize. Just as our vessels can move through space undetected by your sensors, our communications cannot be traced by your methods." Exirithal stepped forward. "What do you want, Admiral Voss? If this is about Earth's red mission to the Concordat, we can discuss terms." Voss smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "The time for that is past, High Counselor. We no longer seek admission to your Concordat. We are establishing our own interstellar nation, the Terran Dominion. We have already reclaimed 32 systems that were either promised to us in our original agreement or were uninhabited and unclaimed. We will continue our expansion. Any Concordat forces that stand in our way will be neutralized." "This is an act of war," Miravex exclaimed, mandibles clicking furiously. "No, Counselor. This is an act of independence. War would imply you have the means to oppose us. You do not. The choice before you is simple: acknowledge the Terran Dominion as a sovereign power and establish diplomatic relations, or continue to lose your outposts, ships, and resource operations one by one." With that, the transmission ended, leaving the council in stunned silence. For the first time in over 5 centuries, the Galactic Concordat faced a power they could neither control nor easily defeat. Admiral Voss ended the transmission and turned to her bridge crew aboard the dreadnought Humanity's Resolve. "Prepare for phase shift. Set course for the Arcturus Prime system." "Coordinates locked, Admiral," responded the navigation officer. "Phase shift ready on your command." Voss nodded, and the massive vessel, 3 kilometers of advanced human engineering and martial power seemed to shimmer before disappearing entirely from normal space. Unlike conventional hyperspace travel, which created detectable entry and exit points, quantum resonance phase shifting allowed ships to move between points in space by harmonizing with the quantum frequencies of reality itself. It was not just faster than Concordat hyperdrives, it was fundamentally untraceable. Within moments, the humanity's resolve materialized in the Arcturus Prime system, where the largest Concordat fleet in the sector was gathered. 30 capital ships and their support vessels, deployed in response to the growing threat of the Ghost Fleet. Before the Concordat forces could react, 15 more human vessels phase-shifted into strategic positions around them. The trap was sprung. "Open a channel to the Concordat flagship," Voss ordered. The face of Fleet Commander Drelthax appeared on screen, his elongated features contorted with shock. "How did you?" "Your fleet is surrounded," Commander, Voss interrupted. "Our weapons are locked on your vital systems. You have 2 options. Surrender your vessels intact, or we will disable them by force. Either way, the Arcturus Prime system now falls within Terran Dominion space." "The Concordat does not surrender," Drelthax snarled. "A pity," Voss replied. "Weapons free. Disable their propulsion and weapons systems only. Minimize casualties." What followed was not a battle but a clinical demonstration of technological superiority. Phase-shift torpedoes bypassed the Concordat vessel's shields completely, materializing directly beside critical systems and detonating with precision. Adaptive armor absorbed and redirected energy weapon fire, leaving human ships virtually undamaged, while the Concordat fleet found itself crippled and adrift. Within 20 minutes, the largest Concordat fleet in the sector had been neutralized without a single ship destroyed on either side. "Your vessels are disabled, but your life support remains intact," Voss informed Drelthax. "Rescue ships will be permitted to retrieve your crews, but your vessels now belong to the Terran Dominion. Consider this payment for the technologies your Concordat promised to share with Earth but never did." 3 months after the Battle of Arcturus Prime, representatives of the Galactic Concordat met with leaders of the newly established Terran Dominion on neutral ground, a space station orbiting a gas giant in unclaimed territory. The terms were not negotiable. The Concordat formally recognized the Terran Dominion as a sovereign power, acknowledged its territorial claims, and established diplomatic relations. In the short span of 18 months, humanity had gone from an expelled member of the Concordat to an independent power that controlled over 50 star systems and possessed technology that outmatched the ancient alliance. Admiral Voss, now serving as the Dominion's Director of Defense, stood with President Liu of the United Earth Coalition as they addressed the citizens of the Terran Dominion from the newly constructed Unity Station in Earth orbit. "Today marks a new chapter in human history," President Liu declared. "The Terran Dominion stands as proof that humanity will forge its own path among the stars. We do not seek conflict with the Concordat or any other spacefaring civilization, but neither will we ever again allow others to dictate our destiny." The Dominion expanded rapidly, not just through military means, but through diplomacy as well. Several species that had chafed under Concordat rule petitioned to join the new human-led alliance, attracted by its principles of technological sharing and mutual advancement. What the Concordat had failed to understand about humanity was not just their capacity for technological innovation, but their adaptability in social and political thinking as well. Where the Concordat had maintained rigid hierarchies for millennia, the Dominion established a federation of equals, with each member species contributing their unique perspectives and abilities to the collective whole. Within 5 years, the Terran Dominion controlled nearly a quarter of what had once been Concordat space. The ancient alliance, for the first time in its existence, faced the prospect of becoming a secondary power in a galaxy it had dominated for centuries. In a private meeting with the Dominion's Leadership Council, Admiral Voss reflected on how far they had come. "The Concordat expelled us because they feared what humanity might become. In doing so, They caused the very outcome they sought to prevent. Dr. Nakamura, now the Dominion's Minister of Science and Innovation, nodded thoughtfully. Their mistake was fundamental. They believed advancement must be controlled, metered out carefully over centuries. They couldn't understand a species that thrives on rapid adaptation and change. They also misunderstood human nature, added General Rodriguez. They saw our ambition as a threat, rather than a force that could lift all species. They chose isolation when cooperation would have benefited everyone. The Dominion had already begun sharing its quantum resonance technology with its new allies, advancing their capabilities far beyond what the Concordat had allowed. New joint research initiatives were yielding breakthroughs in medicine, energy production, and environmental restoration that benefited all member worlds. Our goal was never conquest, Voss said, looking out at the Earth visible through the viewport. It was to ensure humanity's place in the galaxy, not just to survive, but to thrive. The Concordat's betrayal forced us to achieve that goal on our own terms. As night fell over Unity Station, the lights of humanity's first true interstellar capital gleamed like stars themselves. The Concordat had tried to contain humanity's potential. Instead, they had unleashed it, not just for Earth, but for all species willing to embrace a new vision of galactic civilization. The Terran Dominion was no longer just humanity's response to betrayal. It had become the foundation for a new order, one based not on control and limitation, but on cooperation and boundless possibility. In the great void of space, a new power had arisen, and the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter for it.